Paintball is a sport that is always changing. In just 30 years, we've pretty much seen the start of the sport, you guys playing in the woods with pump guns, and now we have athletes on airball fields with electronic guns. That big step in the game has really required lots of equipment iterations on everything from guns to pods. So it's really weird to see a product like the grill last 15 years. I mean, really weird if you think about it, it's half the time paintball's been a sport. So since the grill's been out for 15 years, it's very popular and has a lot of fans. So V-Force are gonna have to do what JT didn't with the ProFlex X and not just the whole thing up. And when I first saw the 2.0, I was very happy with the look. I mean, the grill's kind of been known for having a very mean, aggressive look. And I'm really happy they stuck with that. They kept that grill style look, but also added some updates. Before we start this thing, I want to thank bfpgear.com for sponsoring another video. They've been a very supportive, long-time supportive sponsor of this thing. And without them, this Grill 2.0 video wouldn't be possible. So head over there and buy yourself a Grill 2.0. Their website's really nice, slick, works fast, and things ship for free. bfpgear.com. Probably the biggest change they did to the 2.0 was change out the ears. So the original grill was just one single mask. The face skirt connected to the ears, and it was just kind of one big piece of rubber. But now they've kind of gotten rid of that. The face is kind of similar, but then now the ears are soft and kind of pivot and you can remove them. The ears are going to be kind of similar to the style you'd see kind of on the Dye i5, most of the Virtue masks, or like I like, the Empire E-Flex. They've also changed out the foam system. There's a new quick change foam system, a new visor, and improved ventilation. But even with those changes, the grill still feels about the same, right? I mean, it still has the same overall shape as the original grill. The foam is the same shape. It still has the same kind of goggle strap, so it's going to feel very similar. It's always been so difficult though to explain how a mask feels, right? I don't know really how to articulate how the thing feels on my head. They're comfortable, right? I've never had a problem with the grill. There's no weird pressure points or anything. They're lightweight. It just feels good, right? And it feels like a high-end mask. It's so difficult to nitpick and compare the way comfort feels between say, a Virtue Vio Contour or an i5 or the Bunker King Command. They're all very comfortable masks, and it's kind of just preference. And I think the grill, comfort-wise, slots in with the best of them. So adding those soft ears doesn't really change the way the mask feels all that much, which isn't really that surprising, right? Because the grill didn't have hard ears before. The ears were made of the same soft, flexible rubber the whole mask was. So adding these softer ears, they're not really softer, they're just different and just kind of feel the same as the original ones. I think that I actually like the older style ears though. I think I like that rubber style. Mainly because I don't think that the cloth or these softer ones really are any much different. I mean, one of the problems that a lot of these ears have, these fabric style ears, is they kind of just come undone over time. I mean, you can see here on my Empire E-Flex that they're just, kind of just coming apart. I mean, be it this mask is 7 years old or something like that, so it's kind of old, but you're probably not going to see that with the rubber style ears. I mean, yeah, you could rip or tear the rubber ones, but it's not that common. And I think overall, just throughout time, these rubber style ears are just gonna last and probably work a little bit better than the fabric style ears. I'm really glad they did stick with that size though. I mean, the grill has some of the best protection in paintball. So having those very large ears adds a lot of protection and something that you're not gonna find on other high-end masks. Most of the other high-end stuff, the Dye i5, we got the Bunker King masks, the Virtue masks, all of those masks are all pretty small and not providing nearly as much coverage or protection to the side of your head that the, grill does. There's also the new visor that kind of looks similar, still has that really aggressive look that kind of peeks over the front of the lens, but it's a much more rigid plastic now. Previously, the visor on the grill was made of the same material the whole mask was, but it was a lot thinner. So you kind of had to protect the visor. It was really easy to bend the thing and it would get all weird and lopsided, but the new one being hard definitely won't have that problem. It also held in place much better and kind of just snaps in like most masks do. You don't have to use O-rings or anything like that anymore. It's a much, much better visor. And while the foam around your eyes has remained the same shape and size, they've actually changed how it comes off quite a bit. So before, the grill had a whole entire like goggle frame you had to replace when you wanted to replace the foam. And now the foam just snaps off much quicker. So this obviously makes it easier to take the foam out, clean the foam, and then replace the foam. But I never do that, right? Like, I don't think I have cleaned the foam on a paintball mask in probably like 15 years, right? And I've never changed the foam, right? Like, I have an Empire E-Flex that I wear often. The foam's kind of like just coming unglued. So I was like, I'm gonna buy some new foam. That was like 4 years ago, and I've still not changed the foam. And I'm probably never gonna do it, right? I don't know. It works okay, you know, for now. By the time I have to buy foam, I'm probably gonna need a lot of stuff, right? Like, I'm gonna need new ears, because those ears are dying. The goggle straps stretching out. I need a lens, you know, and all that stuff adds up to be almost over $100. So buying all that stuff just to put on an old mask doesn't make all that much sense. So I find myself, when like the foam's wearing out and stuff and I'm ready to replace the foam, I need to replace so much stuff that I'm just buying a whole new mask. So while I think that having quick change foam is cool and neat, I don't know if it's really that usable. And I think that the flimsiness of how this snaps in, I don't like either. I much preferred the like rigid, really solid feel of the previous grill with that original like goggle frame style foam. But it's not new, right? I mean, most of the paintball manufacturers are now using this kind of snap-in, clip-in style foam. And for the most part, it works. There aren't like any huge problems. I just don't know if it's that useful for myself anyway. So they were able to keep that grill look, but also add some more ventilation. And if you look at the side of this thing in the front, you're just gonna see more ventilation holes, right? I mean, there's just more holes, and they're a little bit more open. I mean, the grill before was kind of like average as far as ventilation went. It wasn't fantastic, but it fit kind of middle of the road. I wore one for maybe like 3 years, and I don't know, it breathed fine for me, and obviously wasn't that bad. I mean, I wore the thing for 3 years. But ventilation is definitely better. I would say it's kind of maybe on par with like, say, the Push Unite mask, maybe the Virtue masks. Still definitely not better than the JT ProFlex, the Empire E-Flex. Definitely better than the HK Army KLR. But maybe not as good as the SLR. And one of the bad parts about the like ventilation, or kind of just the size or style of these masks, that the original grill also suffered from was echo. So when you yell a lot, it just kind of like reverberates into your ears. It's definitely worse than other masks, but it's not like that bad, right? Like, I don't even notice it, right? I think that when I put another mask on and put another mask on, and if I like try to pay attention, I can definitely notice that, you know, the grill's gonna say echo more than like my ProFlex, but it's not terrible, right? It's not something that I even notice when I'm playing, right? Because when I'm playing, I just kind of like go into paintball land, and I don't even like think about these little things. I'm just kind of concentrating so much on playing that I don't notice that echo. So some people will complain about it, but if you're not like super, you know, anal or like, you know, super observant, I don't know, it's not a problem. And there's definitely no question the grill's gonna have like very, I don't know, like a narrow foam or something like that. You know, the grill's gonna have a lot smaller foam and then in turn lens than a lot of the other paintball masks. And when this thing came out 15 years ago, everyone went crazy. They're like, how are you gonna see? Nobody knew what to do, right? They're like, the lens is so small, we're not gonna be able to play paintball with it. But because that thing's so close to your face, it really doesn't matter, right? I mean, you might see a little bit less stuff like on the ground if you're trying to like, you know, look like this or something crazy, but it's really not that big of a difference. I tried to actually get like, you know, cameras and lenses and stuff to try to show this, but I couldn't actually get like a good vertical representation. I was able to show like the width, but the width really isn't the problem, right? Because you're still gonna be able to scan the side, like, you know, your sight line just as good. You're just gonna get that vertical vision. It's really hard to show in a lens, so I couldn't do it. So I liked the original grill, and I do like the 2.0. I'm not really sure if making all the changes or upgrades really made the mask any better, but it's definitely still nice. It's still about the same price. I mean, the original grills were kind of selling all over the place. I mean, you could get them for 90 bucks up to like $200. It just depends on the color. These things are selling for, I believe, $115. Why do I want to say $125? Yeah, $115. I don't know why it's $125. I don't know. $125 is still a good price, but definitely at $115 slots it in a little bit higher than, say, the JT ProFlex, but quite a bit cheaper than the other high-end masks, like, say, the Dye i5 or the Push Unite. And it's still really good. The ventilation is fantastic. You can get it in all black. They've got tons of lenses. I don't know if I really like the new foam all that much in those ears, but those are kind of just minor complaints. Is breathability and comfort, to me, are the two most important things you can look for when you're buying a mask.